Slave DBSC.
All right, y'all. Again, y'all know how I go down. I got to get it right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on what time of day you digest this content. This is another live episode of the Offenders Initiative podcast. I am your illustrious host, Slave DiBiase. And today we are gathered here for 420. I know I'm about 8 minutes late, y'all. Don't crucify me. I'm about 8 minutes late, y'all. Because unlike some of your favorite bloggers, I actually like to, get clean, wash my ass before I come on stream. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you stink, people can smell it. They might even be able to smell it through the screen. I don't want y'all smelling me. So I went ahead and I took care of business. You know what I'm saying? It allowed me to be a little late. I apologize. But then what stoner do you know is on time anyway? Tell me when you know that's on time. We can be productive. We just said we had to be on time. You feel? Shout out to Jamie Lanier. Hashtag small content creators unite. Know what I'm saying? Let me get the business right over here before I talk my shit. What's going on with y'all, man? What's going on with y'all? Y'all see the caption? Episode 7 of Welcome to Derry. It's going down. It went down last night. And today we're also reviewing. Let me pull this up for y'all because y'all can't. Let me see if y'all can see what I mean. Do you see what I see? Face it. Yeah. You see all those nice colors and all of that. I got them rainbow colors in my blunt. Got them rainbow colors in my blunt, man. Today's strain of the day is LA Pop Rocks / Purple Push Pop. What's going on, Shisha 12? What's going on, Raccoon? Yeah, Raccoon. That's Raccoon because he got a picture of Raccoon. What's going on, y'all? Hope everybody got your lighters together and all of that. Again, today I'm going to show it to y'all. Today's strain of the day is LA Pop Rocks and Purple Push Pop. Y'all see that? I don't smoke no bullshit. We need to get some education on that before we move any further and we get into the whole recap of episode 7 of Welcome to Derry. All right, so LA Pop Rocks and Purple Push Pop is a flavorful indica. Matter of fact, let me just show this to y'all, man. Just show this to y'all because y'all might not believe me if I just say it, Let's go. Bam, right there. Okay. LA Pop Rocks Purple Push Pop is a flavorful indica dominant hybrid cannabis strain known for its sweet berry, vanilla, and gas diesel like notes, offering uplifting euphoria and deep relaxation with terpenes like limonene and chlorphylline. Making it great for unwinding, this cross blends genetics from LA Pop Rocks and Purple Push Pop. I will say when you open the canister, when you open the casing, when you open pack, it is giving off that sweet smell. I do definitely smell that sweet berry smell. So they said it's an indica hybrid. The genetics are LA Pop Rocks, which is Triangle Kush, BX2, and Z Animal, mixed with Purple Push Pop, which is cookies and cream and Temple Flow. The aroma flavors is sugary berries, vanilla, diesel gas, citrus, hints of citrus, creamy, and cake-like. Yeah. Effects: uplifting, euphoric, relaxing, soothing, tingling, blissful, and can induce sleepiness at higher doses. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I have smoked out a pack already. As you can see, this is what I lit up with. I'm gonna roll another one throughout the stream. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you's a motherfucking rookie, definitely do not try this by yourself at home. This is a novice strain. This is not a novice strain. This is for champions right here. LA Pop Rocks and Purple Push Pop will put you to sleep. I'm telling you. By the way, did I tell you this is about JK Distro? Look again. Yeah. All those nice colors and all of that, man. Not playing no games out here. All my real stoners, man. You know what I'm saying? Roll y'all up something. Roll y'all up something. I do taste the sweet notes. I do, in fact, taste the sweet notes. I do. Very sweet, very sugary. It's a smooth smoke. It hits you right in the chest. And it will put you down. It's indica. It's an indica hybrid. It's an indica hybrid. Let me pull out one of these. See if I can get y'all one of these buds to possibly take a look at. Okay, how y'all? I hate that. How y'all feeling about that? I hate that too. How y'all feeling about that? There we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pray like that. Y'all see them colors, man. Y'all see them colors, man. Salute to JK Distro. Beautiful smoke. If you're with me, man, roll up, light up. Tell me what's the strain of the day in the comments, y'all. As I get us set up here with today's content that we're going to be reacting to. Let me see. Let me see what we got here. Okay. So, of course, we're going to go with our good buddies that we've been reacting to. Think Story. You know what I'm saying? All right. And without further ado, I'm telling y'all, okay, so before we get go any further or whatever, I will say salute to JK Distro. LA Pop Rocks with Purple Push Pop is a 10 out of 10. They are selling it in the smalls packs, man. If you know where to go find it, you know where to go find that. You know what I'm saying? And don't forget to use my code, man. Don't forget to use my code. Hit me up on Instagram, man, and I give y'all guys my code. I'm trying not to like throw too much at y'all up here because when you go to, for some odd reason, when the algorithm feels like you're about to sell something, it kind of gets you all buried in dark. So I'm not gonna give y'all my code, but all y'all got to do is when y'all hit me up. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put my code in my bio. Y'all be able to look at my bio and all of that. Use my code with JK Distro. Get you some good tree, man. Medicine for the masses. But without further ado, this is by way of Think Story. Please don't forget to give them good folks a like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome to Derry, episode 7. Let's take a look.
Just finished this week's insane episode of Welcome to Derry, and I have only one thing to say to the writers.
Not gonna lie, this was definitely me after the episode. This is one of the best episodes in television this year. This episode of Welcome to Derry is one of the best episodes in all of television of all of this year. I promise you. If you've been keeping up, y'all know I'm not lying.
You can't keep getting away with it. Pour a freedom coke for our boy Rich. I'm in a glass case of emotion here in what was arguably the most brutally emotional episode yet. From our first look at Pennywise's origin, the insane Black Spot massacre, and General Shaw's true plans revealed. I'm just over here like,
oh, wait. Hold on. We got to stop the presses right quick. Look at this comment, y'all. In the name of Jesus Christ, stop smoking now. From Esther Rose Weto. Hey, guess what? The channel's called We the People TV. And don't bring Jesus into this. Jesus turned water into wine. What if you don't get you?
Take it. So join me as we take a deep dive into Derry, and make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a balloon in the comments. I write, edit, and produce these videos all by myself, so every little bit helps. We have waited years to finally get a Pennywise origin story, and episode 7 delivers while still leaving room to explore more of Pennywise in the future. We're back in 1908 at Santini's Traveling Carnival, the same carnival we saw a young...
Esther, you good. It's just, if you look at the name and the title of the channel, you know where you at. That's all I'm saying.
Francis Shaw back in episode 3. We'll see some familiar faces like this carnival barker and even director Andy Muschietti working the musical box. Although,
let's go back to Andy Muschietti. Do we? Okay, we're up to episode 7. I told y'all I'm gonna ask this every week. Do we forgive Andy Muschietti for what he did to the Flash? With as great as every episode of this show has been, like none of the episodes have been asked. From the way it was shot to the storyline, all of that. Do we forgive him for what he did to the Flash yet? Just let me know in the comments.
And director Andy Muschietti working the musical box. Although not the same kind of music box is shown just before Beverly meets Pennywise in the Derry sewers. It's here we get our first introduction to the human form
Okay,
of
hold on.
Pennywise the dancing clown.
All right, hold on, y'all. Everybody that's really here watching for the actual smoke session and the review and reaction and recap of Welcome to Derry, episode 7. Yo, Esther, I don't care that you're friends with Asho Speed. Go get on Asho Speed and tell him what to do. You don't run nothing over here. But please stop. You don't get your ass on somewhere. Hey man, don't make me block you, bro. We trying to have a good sesh. All my real stoners, my stoneheads, my real offenders, they pulling up here. We trying to have a good sesh. Don't mess it up with your corny vibes, bro. Go somewhere else and have an Eskimo pie. We chilling over here.
Clown. His real name
Must be my first fucking troll or something. Show ass home, man.
is Robert Bob Gray, and we'll see those initials on his handkerchief embroidered in his iconic Pennywise red. His stage show is rather tragic for a clown that's supposed to bring joy to children.
By the way, Bill Skarsgård, hands down, is slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite actors in Hollywood. I liked him when he played the bad guy in the last John Wick movie. I still love him as Pennywise. Now this is him playing the human form that Pennywise took. Bob Gray. This is a whole nother character. This isn't Pennywise he's playing. This is a whole nother character. So the man's perfect. And honestly, I've been seeing online places like Twitter and all of that. They saying folks wouldn't mind seeing Bill Skarsgård be the James Gunn DCU Joker. What y'all think about that? I like him.
Children. In fact, the whole thing is an homage to his dead wife, who he once performed alongside with. She was a clown named Periwinkle, a name her daughter will soon take, and we'll see a little glimpse of what she looked like in the background. The show never tells us how she died or how Pennywise had this fall from grace, going from selling out shows at the circus to little performances in backwater towns as part of a traveling carnival.
With this being the Stephen King universe, ain't no telling how that man's wife really died. That might be a whole story in itself.
Pennywise tells us his dream is to one day make it back to the big top, and it's important to note the distinction between a carnival and a circus. A circus is considered more prestigious. There, the focus is more on performances based on skill, where audience members sit under a big top watching trapeze artists, aerialists, and even clowns. The carnival is the opposite. The audience walks around a midway, engaging in games of chance, taking in freak shows, and riding dubiously held together attractions.
When's the last time y'all been to the carnival? I remember I used to go to the carnival when I was young, and I used to actually ride the rides. How insane was I?
I got the feeling that Pennywise thinks working at a carnival is a bit beneath him, hence him wanting to make it back to the big leagues. I like to think that this carnival is a yearly thing that visits Derry, as the beginning of It Chapter 2 features a 2016 version. But back to the tragedy of Pennywise. I think that after the death of his wife, he spiraled into alcoholism. The guy can't even take a moment after the show without having a drink.
Hold on. See, hold up. When they cut or whatever, he didn't know that they was finna open the joint back up. Now, this just looks wrong all the way around. You got the little guy here with the full beard and the Rocky hat cocked backwards. He feeding him the drink. He trying to hit the drink and not get caught by the kids and all of that. They ain't had to do him like that. They knew. Come on now. Y'all was trying to embarrass Mr. Bob Gray.
Moment after the show without having a drink. This probably led to him being fired and having to take a carnival job to pay for him and his daughter. Speaking of which, his daughter is Ingrid Kirsch, the Juniper Hill maid we saw in 1935, 1962, and potentially even 2016. We'll talk a bit later about the fate of Ingrid, but if she were alive in 2016, that would make her a staggering 116 years old.
Well, then that settles it. When we saw her here when we saw her here in It Chapter 2, that was clearly it taking the last form it's seen of her, because this was the last form that she had when she was in this apartment alive. And then you see old girl walk outside. Beverly walks outside and she looks up at the apartment building and it's abandoned. Hold on. What do you want, Lux? It's my dog right here. What do you want, Lux? Go. Bye. Get out of here. Get out of here. No. See, I'm doing something now. All right.
Young Ingrid helps her dad out with various sound effects, but at this point, she isn't officially a part of the show. Her mother's dress is in the style of a Perot clown, a contrast to Pennywise's august clown. Perot costumes were strictly black and white with loose fitting pajama clothes, while August were often colorful and noisy. This is a great contrast for Pennywise and his wife's act. It should also be noted that a Perot clown often played the tragic victim, making
Okay. When I was younger, right? Coming up in Louisiana, right? When I was younger, there was this little TV show that used to come on in the morning for the kids where you would call in and win tickets, and it was hosted by this clown. You don't even notice when until you grown how scary and freaky clowns really look, bruh. Like, it took me a minute to realize why some people like, I'm afraid of clowns. Like, boy, get the fuck on if you got on the clown costume. You know what I'm saying? They have like movies about that. Killer clowns from outer space. Shit, right about now, Pennywise is the most famous clown you could think of outside of Ronald McDonald.
Ingrid's real life all the more tragic. The Perot clown also has these black C-shaped crescent moons. In pantomime history, the Perot is obsessed with the moon, and that's certainly an homage to that. For his curtain call, Pennywise does the same dance we'll see him perform for young Beverly in It Chapter 1. This is followed by a downpour of red balloons commonly associated with his character. It makes me wonder if Francis's flashback takes place on the same day Pennywise is killed. We learn that when Ingrid presents her clown outfit to her dad, it's a surprise, not something she does every day. So I like to think this is shortly after she's already surprised her dad. A bunch of kids storm the stage and grab his wig, another little nod that the carnival is a bit more unruly and a step below the circus. In the background, we'll catch a glimpse
At
of
the carnival unruly, Justin, was bad kids that stormed the damn stage and their parents ain't stop them. Badass kids, man. They snatched my man little top scalp off. They snatched that off. Now, just disrespected the man whole set, man. Meantime, between time, y'all see back off here in the distance, there was this weird looking kid back there. And that's actually it in this kid's form, you know?
a small child watching the performance from the barn. He's credited as Urchin Boy. Galoo has often used different methods to lure his victims, and for Pennywise, he takes the form of this boy. We know that Pennywise loves to get into the minds of his victims, and I can't help but think this boy is a manifestation of what he was like as a child. Both he and the street kid lost their parents, and we can assume Pennywise came from a poor family and went on to join the circus. Pennywise is kind of taken aback when the child holds his hand, but something compels him to venture out into the forest to search for his parents. Even though he initially told the boy to scram, he'll help him because deep down he knows this kid was just like him as a child, an alone boy who's lost.
Nah, that ain't it. We ain't going where he's an alone boy that was lost, just like him. Nah, if you watch that part, buddy here, Bob Gray told him, he said, man, beat it. I'm not helping you out, kid. Kid, come over there looking all weird. Talking about some, can't find my mom. Can you help me? He was like, no. Now get the fuck on. Then all of a sudden you hear in the background there in the woods, you hear some woman screaming, ah. So him using the most Caucasianist of minds in a horror movie. Of course, he went with the boy to go investigate what the scream in the fucking woods in the dark was. So how you think that turned out, right?
His parents. Periwinkle's clown reveal makes her papa very proud. She even has this horn we saw her holding in episode 3, and which the adult version will bring with her to the black spot. August clowns often used brass instruments like trumpets because they were loud, abrasive, and could be funny when played badly or blown into someone's ear. You'll notice he calls her Pumpkin here, the same thing he calls her in the 1935 flashback. He has big plans for them to star in the first father-daughter clown act, and it's
She was gonna bring him back, man. That whole plan he had put together for him and his daughter to be a traveling act together. He never got a chance to do it because it took him in the woods. And RIP'd him.
kind of chilling when he says his new act will be different and something no one has seen before, foreshadowing his next act as the clown entity that will haunt Derry. We don't actually know what happened to Pennywise after venturing into the forest. All we have is this bloody handkerchief and the carnival barker's theory that Pennywise was eaten by wolves. I hope this is something that's explored more in later seasons of the show. Producers have stated season 3 will be set in 1908, which will climax with the Kitchener Ironworks explosion. So it's very possible we'll see more of Bob Gray and what really happened to him. But what about Ingrid? With her father gone, where did she go? All we know is that she ended up settling in Derry, feeling, quote, drawn to it. She'd go
Again, like he said, the third season is going to be set in 1908, which is when that whole carnival thing went on. Every season, they're going to do about 3 seasons of Welcome to Derry. Every season is going to go back another 27 years. Right now, we're in 1962. I think we're going to go to 1932 next season, season 2, which season 2 and season 3 have already got the green light for, by the way. So if you locked in, we on a crazy ride. Annie Muschietti, don't let us down. My thing is we got one more episode in this season, and then we're waiting till next year for season 2. Have we forgiven him for what he did to the Flash? Let me know.
go on to work at Juniper Hill until that fateful evening in 1935, where she hears of Pennywise's return. This is another thing the show doesn't tell us. What did Ingrid and Pennywise discuss that night in the Juniper Hill boiler room? How complicit was Ingrid in helping him gather children? And was she in any way involved in the 1935 event known as the Bradley Gang Massacre?
I would say yes. As a matter of fact, we're gonna find out that she's one of the big bads of this entire franchise. As far as the Welcome to Derry season, she's gonna be one of the big bads. I'm telling you, she's going to be a constant big bad. Because y'all got to remember, in that 1932 cycle, she was the one taking kids down to the basement for Pennywise to eat. Yeah, that was her. She's gonna be the big bad.
All we really know was there was some expectation that if she helped him, he would come back for her. And that's exactly what she did. Ingrid was pivotal in orchestrating the Black Spot Massacre. She was the one who kept Hank busy the night Phil, Theo, and Susie died, the event that would see Hank Rogan arrested and eventually hide out at the Black Spot. And she was the one who tipped off the mob where Hank Rogan was. Last episode, we saw Ingrid prepare for this big event. She loves to put on her makeup and outfit as a reminder of her father's love for her. Her husband, however,
Nah, as a reminder of her father's love for her. She like putting on, she just a weirdo, nigga. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. I've been saying for the last 6 episodes that this woman don't look 67. When she put that makeup on, freaky. She looked crazy. Nah, man. Ingrid is stone cold crazy. She knows that that's not her father. Ain't no way you gonna tell me she don't. And you've been feeding kids. Your father wasn't eating kids the last time you saw him, was he? Because he would have ate your stupid ass.
she loves to put on her makeup and outfit as a reminder of her father's love for her. Her husband, however, isn't so keen on the idea. This is Stan Kirsch, town butcher, white supremacist, and occasional wife beater. A few episodes ago, I theorized he liked to slap Ingrid around, and now it's confirmed, telling her that if she doesn't wipe that ridiculous crap off her face, she's gonna be black and blue. Ingrid states this is who she really is. This is something she'd had to hide from the world for 27 years. At the end of the day, she's daddy's little girl. That's when Pennywise is revealed, who uses a comically large butcher knife to kill the butcher.
Kids call me Stanley Cleaver.
While Ingrid is clearly shaken up by the gruesome death, she keeps her composure. This is the thing she's waited for so long. Her father,
Nah, your man Pennywise made himself a little cleaver, you know, big, giant, crazy cartoon like cleaver, and cuts off her husband's head right in front of her. Because the husband, the butcher said, "Hey, stupid bitch, if you don't wipe that dumbass shit off your face, man, to get home right now, you're going to be black and blue." I said, "Oh, man." Next thing you know, Pennywise was up behind him, cuts his head in half like the way you would an orange, just right in half, and starts biting into it. So y'all got to think about it. Pennywise was not discriminating around this time. He was eating kids. He was eating animals. He was eating yo mama, they mama, my mama, yo daddy. Everybody was getting ate. Nobody, there was no type of discrimination. My man said, "I'm hungry, and this is it." You know, this is again, this is leading towards the big event that happens every time at the end of the cycle, where he does something very, very murderous to drown in a lot of bodies. He feasts, and then he goes to ground for another 27 years. And this fire with these white supremacists and what they started was perfect. That was hatred and fear from both sides. He definitely came out. And oh, crazy there, she orchestrated the whole thing.
Is really bad. He has her bow and play the trumpet just like she did as a child. The two embrace, and it almost felt as though he was ready to take a big chunk out of her. He tells her that she did good, but now it's time for him to go to sleep. This is the end of the augury, or end of the 1962 cycle, where Galoo will go back to rest, only to reappear in 1989, where he'll have his encounter with the Losers Club. But Ingrid's waited too long for this moment. She grabs his arm and tells him not to abandon her. This is when he reveals he's not her father at all. Although if we believe him, he states her father still lives.
Boy, ain't no fucking way. This is when he reveals that he was never her father at all. Again, your daddy wasn't eating kids the last time you saw him, was he? There was clear signs that that's not. Look at him. Look at his face. That's not your damn daddy. Come on now. Don't be stupid. Be smart. Ain't no way. You just crazy.
Inside him, he opens his mouth to reveal the deadlights. This is something we saw him do to Beverly Marsh in It Chapter 1.
Now, he did introduce grown Periwinkle to the deadlights, lift her up off the ground and all of that. What I want to know is, what did she see? That's what I want to know. What did she see?
You'll see these 3 floating balls, the same ones that escaped the celestial object which crash landed on Earth millennia ago. This is Galoo's true form. When someone is affected by the deadlights, they immediately go into a catatonic state in which one's consciousness is ripped away from the body. This is shown visually by the eyes glazing over into a milky gray and their body levitating from the ground. Those affected by the deadlights are put in a state of eternal terror, their minds locked in a nightmare. Will refers to this as salting the meat to a catatonic state.
Now,
Gray is locked
look at
in a
this,
nightmare.
y'all. This is why your man was saying you'll float too. So is it safe to say that everybody that's put into this catatonic state, that they're floating, that they gone, right? They're dead. So he's just harvesting off of their energy while he got them floating. They really brain dead. He's just feeding off the body. Oh, it is vicious.
Will refers to this as salting the meat, or getting them prepared just right before they can be devoured by Galoo. Most who experience the deadlights are instantly killed because the human brain cannot comprehend its true eldritch form. However, Beverly in 1988 survived this experience. In the movie, it gave her prophetic visions, like how she saw the losers returning to Derry as adults. Does this mean that characters like Ingrid or Will experience something similar?
I would say so.
After the fire at the black spot, we'll see Ingrid carted away. Pennywise didn't.
Oh, that bitch eyes switched, bro. I said, oh, because that means you heard what he just said. Most of the time when people are introduced to the deadlights, they end up dead. They're gone. She's still alive.
End up taking her, Perhaps he was too full and didn't need to feed on her, or maybe he knew she was bad meat. She wasn't afraid of him, at least not to the extent of the others.
That's exactly why it's a good chance he might not have been able to kill her. Literally not being afraid of him is a great defense against him. Just not being afraid of him. He feeds off fear. If you have no fear,
But what will end up happening to her? Is her brain completely fried? I think it would be pretty ironic if she ended up at Juniper Hill as a patient. The Hanlons have made their way back to their home in Derry, believing it to be safe now that Galoo has gone to sleep. Their fridge
it's not fucking safe.
contains Fizzla Cola, which we found in the Derry grocery store and is a nod to Nozzla Cola in the Dark Tower. There's also some Siegel's Pickles, a rival.
All my hold up, let me back it up a little bit. All my Dark Tower fans, I'm hearing whispers in the wind that there's supposed to be a Dark Tower series coming out. And you know, the Dark Tower is kind of like the TV show and or book that connects all the different standalone Stephen King stories that you've ever heard, like The Mist and Thinner and everything, like a little bit of all of those stories you've ever heard, even it, like characters from those shows, from those books cross over into this story about the Dark Tower. I can't wait to see that series, especially if it's shot anything like this. It's probably going to be pretty fire.
Nozzla Cola in the Dark Tower. There's also some Siegel's Pickles, a rival pickle company different than the one Lily's dad worked at. You might also see a moving box as Charlotte made it clear that tomorrow she's getting Will out of Derry. Pennywise, however, has different plans, as he'll emerge from his slumber to put Will under the deadlights. We know he'll survive this ordeal, as he'll grow up to eventually.
Yeah, Mike Hanlon from the original Losers Club is his son, so obviously he survives. But y'all got to think, man, this is Stephen King. There are no happy endings. At what cost does Will stay in alive so Mike can be born? Because in my early theory is, well, we're gonna get to that in a second. Hold up.
Have Mike as his son, but you better believe that Leroy will stop at nothing to get his son back. We also haven't really seen Leroy's inability to feel fear tested, so I'm excited for that as he gets closer to a one-on-one confrontation with Galoo. Last episode saw a mob of white men led by former Derry chief of police descend upon the Black Spot.
Oh man, yo, okay. Now, before we go any further, man, rest in power to young Richie, the young little Mexican Spanish boy, man. Rest in peace to him. He really went out on some man shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he went out and made sure that his girl was able to live on. You understand what I'm saying? For him to be that young and to be that brave, I don't know many men that would have did what he did. And this might be one of these saddest deaths since G Baby that I done seen, man. You understand me?
Bar for African American servicemen of the nearby Derry Air Force Base. Ingrid tipped them off that known fugitive Hank Rogan, who escaped a Shawshank prison bus, is staying there. We've seen the town and how it's become increasingly aggressive over the past few weeks, even brandishing weapons out in the open. This is how Galoo's hold over the town manifests. Even the indigenous elder talks about how the citizens have become more agitated, noting that this year's augury has yet to take place. The augury is a huge event that signals the end of the feed. In my last breakdown, I noted how 4 members of this mob have personal reasons.
When I tell y'all, if you're not watching this show, go ahead and watch it and catch up and get right here with me, because the shock and awe of things that happen in this episode, you like, man, it'll make this show alone, even though it's by different writers, is based on Stephen King's shit. This show alone will make you go watch the rest of Stephen King's movies and TV shows. This show alone.
For wanting to find Hank Rogan. Al Malkin, Phil and Susie's father, believes Hank responsible for his children's death. He even tried to murder him in public and was somehow set free. It just goes to show you how deep the corruption is in this town and how everyone kind of turns a blind eye. Corruption might be what got Police Chief Bowers axed, as he tells us the powers that be lost faith in his ability to, quote, serve and protect.
That's exactly what got you canned, you racist.
Then there's Stan Kirsch, whose wife's been sleeping with Hank. Rounding out that group is a town council member we saw from episode 2, who's just a straight up racist. Their masks also correlate to forms Pennywise took in the books. Frankenstein's monster was used to terrorize the bullies in the sewers, a vampire when Ben Hanscom was in the Derry library, and the clown is pretty self explanatory. They demand Hank Rogan be brought out, which almost certainly means he'll be lynched. The air
They pulled up, man, with their guns out, like, yo, we gonna shoot this bitch up, and Hank Grogan do not come outside. And for once, y'all, for once, even though it was back in the 60s, for once, I seen all of us stand up for each other. Look right here. They were like, hey, he ain't here. Gotta speak to Pete. P ain't here. Yeah, he ain't here. We don't know about no Hank Grogan. This is a spot for military personnel to hang out. That's it. I don't know what you want, sir, but would you kindly make your exit?
men aren't willing to give Hank up, even when he reveals himself to the crowd. It
Stupid.
results in a sort of standstill, with the mob leaving only to chain the place up and light it on fire. I found it odd that they let one of the white girls out, but nothing is said of the children.
There was a little white girl in there. They let her bounce, even though there were 3 other children in there. Doesn't matter the color. There were 3 kids in there. You understand what I'm saying?
They let one of the white girls out, but nothing is said of the children, Rich, Marge, Ronnie, or Will. The whole black spot sequence is absolutely brutal. Even if you somehow made it out through the windows, you'd be mercilessly shot. We mainly follow this massacre from 2 perspectives, Dick Halloran and Rich and Marge. Dick's been struggling with seeing the dead ever since Galoo opened his box of trauma in episode 5. Even while fighting the flames, he can't escape the dead, coming across a dead Union soldier. He told Leroy 2 interesting things about them. They almost always go back to where they died, and they know things those who are alive should never know. This is where Sesky comes into play.
Sesky, salute to Sesky showing up in the episode, because her showing up was pretty pivotal and a turning point into where this season finale episode is finna turn to. This will make you go back and watch it, chapter 1 and chapter 2.
The tribal warrior who died at the hands of Galoo in episode 4. Although he sees her during the fire, it's not until after that she leads him to the burial site, where she was buried alongside one of these pillars. The pillars are made from celestial fragments that once held Galoo in its journey across space.
That's not true. Sesky actually led Dick Halloran to all the kid. First of all, that nigga's name is wild. Dick Halloran. What? Grow up. All right. He went out there and led Halloran to all those kids. Sesky, the ancient Native American spirit, the warrior princess, she led him to getting those kids out of that fire so that they didn't burn alive.
Until this point, it seemed as though General Shaw wanted these pillars in order to trap Galoo and weaponize him against the Russians. After all, when he first met Leroy, he stressed how important it was to defeat the Russians, as they were starting to arm Cuba. But Shaw doesn't intend on using these pillars at all. He wants them destroyed to unleash Galoo on America. Leroy was never told this. In fact,
yo, like, do you understand? Basically, how do I explain? The fact that they've been in Derry for so long and around the entity. Remember, they said earlier in the season that it like poisons the water, it poisons the land, it poisons everything around it to end up doing its bidding, so that it can eat every 27 years. The fact that They want the pillars taken down. General Shaw wants the pillars taken down so that it can be unleashed on the whole world. What? That's something that it would want so that it can just eat and has no cage. You doing what the entity wants you to do. Ain't that the name of the game?
In fact, he was lied to, told that the pillar was to be studied, not destroyed. General Shaw believes that the real threat to America doesn't come from abroad, but from within. The amount of political upheaval from women's rights, race rights, and various protesters has the nation on the brink of civil war. Thus, something.
Bruh, he said that shit with a straight face. Race wars, women's rights. My man Leroy was like, are you serious? But fuck all that. You talking about releasing a kid-eating monster on the world. You out your damn mind. They skipped over all the fire shit he did. When they found the pillars, right? Because Sesky's spirit led Halloran to finding one of the pillars because, again, her body was buried next to it. My man right here, he knew something. He knew they was on some bullshit. Will's father, Leroy Hanlon, knew they was on some bullshit. So he pulled up with the old 1911, the old 45. Why they about to burn they about to incinerate the pillar, the dagger, and all of that. He like, hey, stop this shit. Hey, stop this shit. Yeah, he was going in. He pulled the pistol on all of his chain of command. Yo, Shaw stand up on some cool shit. Yo, man, put the gun down. Man, fuck that. Major, if you will, come upstairs. I'd like to talk to you. And that's when he started spitting that crazy shit, talking about he want to release it out on the world. That's what I said. You working with the enemy and don't even notice that you're doing it. Stephen King at his best.
Drastic has to be done. The greatest way to get people in line is through fear. Shaw even says that a little collateral damage, such as missing kids and murder, is acceptable for the overall long-term stability of the nation.
Whoa!
Leroy threatens to contact the Department of Defense, suggesting Shaw has gone rogue, but he's taken at gunpoint and ordered back to his quarters where he's not allowed to leave the base. As the pillar is melted, we see Pennywise awaken from his slumber. He can probably sense that this is happening.
Yo, as soon as the pillar hit the lava, my man is over here sleeping. Honestly, if they would have left the pillar alone, we wouldn't have seen him again until chapter 1 of the original timeline with the Losers Club with the youngins. That would have been the next time we would have seen the entity called it. They moved the pillar. My man woke up and he got activated on go time immediately. He's surrounded by body parts, y'all. Yo, they didn't play. Shout out to Eddie Muschietti. I ain't gonna lie. They did, man. They did good on this show. I ain't gonna lie. I might forgive him for the Flash. I just might.
Happened, prompting him to return to Derry in next week's finale. Stick around later in the video for my trailer sleuthing section where I'll go over how next episode will play out. It's important to note that Dick was going to leave this fire by himself. He remembered that the broken icebox weakened the floorboards by the fridge and uses this to escape. He's always been the type of guy to put himself before others, but in an act of selflessness, he calls out to the ghost of Sesky. Notice how her eyes start off in that milky haze. Russo had the same thing after venturing out from the sewers. Did Dick calling out to her snap her out of it? And if
yeah, because remember, Halloran said the dead most of the time don't know that you're there unless you acknowledge them. Once you speak to them, they can't stop talking. He said if you just act like they're not there, they'll act like you not there. They don't see you. Which is why he said to her, he was like, hey, her eyes was all milky like that. And then she snapped too.
So could he do the same for Will? Talking to the dead is something Dick did not want to do. He told Leroy it's best just to leave the dead alone because once you start talking, their voices get inside your head. We'll see this in the aftermath of the massacre as his dead, burned army buddies hound him. You can hear them make out the words, "You gotta make it right." It's possible the dead want his help in getting justice. Maybe it's the only way he can get them out of his head. And can Dick use his grandmother's lockbox technique to push away the dead? If his appearance in The Shining is any indication, yes, he'll succeed. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out in the final episode. Marge and Rich, however, get stuck behind when a beam falls between them and the exit. We've watched these two develop a relationship over the last few episodes, with their adventures last week being one of the
Air Force Cola. How many of y'all out there were today years old finding out what an Air Force Cola was? Had them kids in there drinking liquor back in the day. You know they was in the South somewhere. Well, actually, Derry, Maine. Oh, they're getting kids drunk in Maine.
highlights of the season. This made it even more gut-wrenching when Rich sacrifices himself by putting himself on top of this box to protect Marge from the smoke and flames. He harkens back to their talk of the knight and pirate, saying it's the duty of the knight to protect the fair maiden. Since day one, he's had a crush on her, recalling a story how he wondered who she was the first day he saw her. He'll also mention the day a Robbie Mueller let loose guinea pigs in the hallway. As Sally Mueller was a classmate of the Losers Club, and a man named William Mueller is mentioned as part owner of the SS and WM rail line in Derry, so he may be related. It's a really heartbreaking scene where Rich eventually succumbs to the fire.
Yo, man, they took my man. Rest in power to Rich, man. Rich went down and smoke inhalation. Young boy went out. He put his girl inside the little freezer thing there. He tricked her to get her in there by herself. And she was like, there's only room for one of us. And he was like, I know. I got you. Wham. Oh man, I ain't gonna lie. That one was a little heart-wrenching because he was like the little backbone. Now it's like the rest of them kids gotta do what they gotta do to get it, because Pennywise very much so showed up right here, which is the reason why the fire was really started anyway.
I think he's gone for good, but
He's definitely gone for good. Yeah, salute to Richie. And that's the reason why Marge later down the line, we find out that she's Richie's mom. It's named after him, her knight in shining armor. This was dope. I could have called it, but I didn't know it was gonna hurt like this one. Rest in power to young Richie, man.
as Ingrid said last episode, nothing in Derry is ever really dead. So it'll be interesting if Dick will encounter Ghost Rich. I want to briefly mention the look on Al Malkin's face after Bowers tells him there's no one getting out of there alive. I kind of got the feeling he's showing some regret here. He's not all gung-ho about what he just did. Perhaps with Galoo's appetite finally satiated, the town will come back to its senses, and maybe this is what's happening with Al. We'll also see this woman, credited as Lone Lady Black Spot Survivor, let out this laugh. Something about a clown bringing on this laughter after such a traumatic event is particularly eerie. The last moment Marge gets with Rich is holding his lifeless hand. This time it's not soft like when she held it in the sewer, rather dirty and charred. In the end, we find out 23 souls died at the Black Spot, which doesn't include the 17 missing children as part of Galoo's 1962 feed. The
Man, he ate super good.
book puts the death count much higher at 60. Hanks'
In the original book, he got sick. He caught 60 bodies.
escape from the Black Spot puts him in a unique position. Charlotte ends up taking his clothes and leaves them in the remains of the blaze, leading authorities to believe he perished in the fire. With Rose's help, Charlotte hopes to send Hank and Ronnie over the border to Montreal. A news report reveals just how corrupt Derry is. The entire blaze is framed as an electrical fire due to negligence on the part of the Black Airmen, and Stan Kirsch is hailed as a hero who died trying to treat the wounded.
Lies, all lies. He died as a racist who got his head chopped in half like a cantaloupe. That's what happened to him.
We'll see Chief Bowers' name being taken off his office door, and if you freeze frame here, you'll see a bunch of names on the chalkboard. These are mostly crew members from the show who work in set design. The tribe does a sort of debrief on this year's cycle. They all feel pretty helpless, but take solace in the fact that their sacred duty of confining Galoo saves more lives in the grand scheme of things. Except for this guy who's like, see you shitasses in 27 years. This
Right.
being a sort of council that meets every 27 years suggests we might see them in future seasons of the show. Lily sits in a dark room, kinda creepy. This girl was last seen fleeing Ingrid Kirsch's house after stabbing her with a dagger. We still really don't know how this dagger will come into play in the final episode. Rose told Shaw that only Taniel knows how to really use it, so he might be key in the events to come. But if you want to know what's in store for the finale, join me as we head into the trailer sleuthing section.
Yeah,
Take
let's
a look at
go.
this ice cream truck speeding through the fog of Derry. This is actually a truck we've seen in the background of past episodes. We can't make out everyone in here, but it looks as though Charlotte, Rose, Will, Lily, and a few others are in here. So we can confirm Will gets out of that deadlight trance. It's kind of ironic they're making their escape from Derry in a day.
But what did Will see? That's another mystery that's gonna come up. He's seen something. If they get him out of it, he's seen something.
Airy truck. But what is this fog? Could it be something like in Stephen King's The Mist? I imagine it has something to do with the pillar being destroyed. After all, it was General Shaw who said that fear is like a fog. By destroying the pillar, maybe it unleashed something. It could also be Pennywise controlling this fog, but we've never seen him do anything as massive as this. He'll definitely use the fog to his advantage, as we'll see his infamous red balloon and a creepy woman here. In this shot, Ronnie
Nah, that's definitely Pennywise doing that whole fog situation. You got to realize the door's open. Now his influence can just, flourish now.
Lily and Marge run through the fog with Ronnie holding on to the dagger. The kids floating above them, I think, are taken from school. In this shot, we'll see the patty cakes fall under Galoo's spell and begin to float. Other students clamor for the door, so something big happens at school, which results in missing persons posters plastered all over the standpipe. The dead continue to haunt Dick, as we'll see several dead in the trailers. He'll hold someone at gunpoint saying, "You got my mind all up." I'm going to guess this is Leroy, who will want his help in getting Will. Here's Pennywise with half of his face covered in blood, the same way we saw him when he took over Will. He's hunting down either Marge or Lily here, as it looks as though they've gotten separated. In this shot, we'll see Marge being pulled into the fog by something. Charlotte here attacking someone. It's most likely Leroy, as it appears to be an officer's uniform. This is
Okay.
a carnival carriage, which might unlock some mystery about Pennywise and his origin. We'll see a pool of blood falling over the stairs. I like the
Are y'all ready for the final episode? Just get ready. Are y'all ready?
addition of a star, as Galoo came from a falling star. I can't show the corpse here as it's too graphic, but there's a guy dead in the middle of the school gym. This is likely the aftermath when Pennywise takes the children. It's Marge and Lily who stumble upon it. This particular image has sparked a lot of debate online. Some are saying this is adult Lily Bainbridge at Juniper Hill.
That's messed up to predict that that's her.
Some have speculated that the man and woman to the side are her husband, Alvin Marsh, and daughter, Beverly, from the It movies. In the films, it's implied Beverly's mother struggled with mental illness, and we know Lily has a lot of trauma to unpack. Plus, the final episode is called Winter Fire, a callback to the poem Ben Hanscom wrote for Beverly in It Chapter 1. While Beverly's mom's name was Elfrida, that's something that could be easily worked around. In the behind the scenes video, we get this shot, which looks to be more dead coming to visit Dick. Dick finds himself in the fog as well, not looking like he's having the best time. Leroy and Taniel are there too. Everything seems to be building towards some big event in the fog. A record player here as someone is restrained at Juniper Hill. Is it Ingrid, adult Lily, or someone else entirely? Marge holding onto the dagger as it glows. Galoo must be
That means it is somewhere around. Do everybody here make it out alive? Answer me that.
somewhere nearby, but hopefully with a dagger on them, they won't be harmed. We have just one more week until the finale, and now I turn it over to you. What do you think will happen next?
Salute to Think Story for that good content that we were just session now too. Salute again to JK Distro for the LA Pop Rocks and the Purple Push Pop. I'm definitely fried, died, and laid to the side. This was a good session. Okay. So, question for y'all. They obviously don't kill it, but how do you think this season will come out? Because this leads directly into the next cycle, which will be 1989. Do all these kids make it out alive? That's the better question. Who do y'all see biting the dust? That's a better question. Y'all let me know in the comments, man. This was a good session. Pull up. Light up. That's how y'all know I'm fried. Big DiBiase, man. I'm out, y'all. Everybody, thank y'all for pulling up. Catch y'all on the next one. Y'all know we got some shit to talk about. Be easy.